there's a couple things you need to think about when it comes to like a client signing the proposals. So first things first is know your batting average and industry average. So that means like, so I don't know what I'm saying like, so that means, hey, you know what? I know that when I pitch and I'm on point and I have the same ritual beforehand and everything stays the same and we're good, I can close 4 out of 5 people on the call. Or is it 1 out of 5 people on the call? Like, what's your batting average and is it where you need to be? Sometimes, by the way, some industries and some people hate paying on the call. Never a good time. I don't like it. It doesn't work the way. Like, there's a guy that was like, hey, you should be paying me $22,000. I was like, maybe, but not now. He's like, but what if we drop the price to 20? I was like, no, it's not a money thing. It's a me thing. Like, I have to be ready to transform. And I usually schedule my sales calls like 2 or 3 weeks before I'm actually willing to pay. And that's just how I work, right? So that's me. And as an example of an industry, like I just tend to like I don't get one call closed. It's not like a pride thing. It's just that like, you know, it's you, me, or the thing, and it's always me. So like I have to be like emotionally prepared to embark on a journey. And I look up the price and then I get ready, not get ready, and then the price. So like you have to know your batting average and your industry average. So if your batting average is like, hey, when I sell them 4 out of 5, cool. And maybe like your client average, your industry average is like 1 out of 5 or something like that. Like you have to have and establish your batting averages in a way that's like, I mean, it's totally possible. Like for Syed, who brought the question, is like maybe only 50% of the people actually pay on the call, and he's trying to go from like 40% to 45%. Like, not really, dude. Like, it's probably not the best allocation of time and effort. But let's just say your batting average or your industry average is too low. You need areas of improvement. Next up, you can actually prompt a pay in full conversation by doing stuff pre-call. So I'll show you right here. PreCall Stuff. And I don't have a good name for this, but you can do, as an example, on your Calendly, you can say like, hey, we're going to be going over the 15 business systems you need to improve or add to your business to increase your closing rate by 500%, specifically 3 that I believe that can move the needle in your business. And if it makes sense, I can present you an offer to join my paid program on the call. Cool. So they're aware of the dollars, right? You could even go back and start to John Madden yourself and review the sales calls and be like, that's where I lost it. That's where I need to fix. That's what I need to say. And pre-conquer objections. And the reason why people don't pay in full is because you have not pre-conquered their objections. And pre-conquering is often caught by a guarantee, but sometimes it's not. Like, you need to get super specific with your pre-conquering objections. Like, hey, you know, the reason why I'm not signing on board is because I have to go ahead and like, you know, train staff. And then I have to go ahead and fix my website, and I have to do all this stuff before I can actually enjoy your services. And that's not a money objection. That's like, I have to do other stuff first objection. So you can actually put into your slide decks, and we can do this without changing your website. So it's not an objection anymore. I don't have to worry about changing my website. Cool. And we'll actually incorporate staff training on demand and as needed, so that you don't have to spend all this time training your staff for a campaign. You can start your campaign up and running fast and ultimately paying your mortgage and getting more clients in. So like whatever reason they're not coming on board, you can pre-conquer that with slides right before the purchase page or something like that. So you can do that as an example. So you can pre-call. You can also move this over here with pre-call stuff. You can also pre-conquer objections. Get that. By the way, pre-conquering objections is super easy. It's just a slide, like that's it. And we will even train your staff on demand on how to close sales calls, so you don't have to go and hire another training program. We'll even do this independently of your website, so you don't have to call GoDaddy and complain. We will show you how to do blank without blank. We will take the photos, so you don't have to do a photo shoot. So you're removing reasons why they can't move forward. Sometimes the reason why they're not paying has nothing to do with money and everything to do to prepare for. It'd be no different if like, I don't have a good example, but let's say like a moving company and they were like, hey, are you ready to come on board and like pay your invoice and get started? It's like, no, I have to like pack all these boxes first. And, you know, and they're like, no, we'll do that for you. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I would have signed immediately. And now he's like, oh, okay. He's going to go back to his sales deck and put in a slide that says, and we'll even pack the boxes for you, so you can get started with your invoice today or something like that, right? So that's part of pre-conquering objections or John Madden yourself. And then lastly, what you can do is you can do what I like to do on some of my sales calls and what I've seen people do in the past. Come on. Is that going to work? Probably not. Preconquering objections. These are strangely hot dog boxes. I don't like those at all. Those make me very uncomfortable. Next up is you can temp check in the client questionnaire. So if you're not doing a client questionnaire, you have to be doing it. I talk about in my IC and the MBA and the paid programs. I've closed 3K, 10K contracts upfront with a client questionnaire. I've done it in a bar. Like, hey, let me ask you a couple questions. If we could solve this, would you move forward? That's it, right? So in the client questionnaire, you can be like, hey, if I understand this correctly, you're looking to do X, Y, and Z, 1, 2, and 3 without blank, right? If we outlined a plan on how to do that and I guaranteed it, would you feel comfortable moving forward today? Or would there be something else that you want to bring up before we start talking about it? And then they'll tell you, yes, I would be comfortable moving forward. And then you can have that conversation about moving forward today, or deal with that pre-conquer or deal with that objection before you even start pitching. So if it turns out like, no, I would not be moving forward because, I got to like organize my finances. Okay, cool. Now I know he's not going to sign no matter what. Or you can be like, all right, so when you say organizing finances, is that because you think this is like a $30,000 a month program? Or do you think it's something else? I think it's like $10,000. I was like, okay, so if I come in under 10, you'd move forward today? What's your pay it now number? I think 5K. All right, cool. So let's do this, right? And so they'll often tell you beforehand. I've listened to a sales call where somebody closed my friend for $36,000. And my friend was like, I don't know. I got to run this by my team. Anything over 10 grand, I got to get approvals. And the guy was like, look, is that 10 grand in total or 10 grand a month? He's like, yeah, it's anything under $10,000 is fine, but over $10,000 ain't going to work. And he said, okay, so if we did 3 payments of X dollars, or sorry, if we did 5 payments of X dollars, would you move forward today? He's like, yeah, that's totally doable. So they had to change the payment plans, right? And that was totally fine. So Syed, here's like the 4 things, like how you should be thinking about this. Again, I'm trying to answer it in a way that's like not specific. So anybody can listen, but A, know your batting average, like you as an individual, and try to figure out your industry average. And so like if you're pitching and you're closing, let's just say 4 out of 5, and you want to go to 5 out of 5, that's really fucking hard. Like be happy with 4 out of 5, right? If you're 1 out of 5, then there's other stuff you need to fix with your pitch. Cool. If it turns out your entire industry or the people that you're serving are never going to pay in full, like we're going to start pitching multi-location franchises, they're never going to pay on the call. It's not a conversation, right? Like I don't even have to worry about industry averages because I know it's going to be horrible. Like now we should be talking about something else. Like I know when I pitch, nobody's going to pay on the call. Well, for a single location, sometimes they do. Great. You can do pre-call stuff. Like on the Calendly, prompt a pay in full conversation. You can even send them information like, hey, I just want to introduce you to Mr. X. He saw our presentation, decided pay in full, get started immediately. These are the results that he saw. You can have that like seating or hypnosis style conversation beforehand. You can pre-conquer objections by John Matting yourself, seeing what's going on, why people are not signing, and deal with that beforehand. Sometimes it's training. Sometimes it's I got to do this. Sometimes like I wouldn't even know what to tell you. Like we have a list of proven offers that work in your industry, and one of our services is we actually take your best competitor's offer, give it to you, and then run it as an ad. Oh, okay, great. So I don't have to tell you what to sell. That is correct. Oh, but I have to train my front desk. We have on-demand training to give the script. So like solving reasons why somebody doesn't move forward, which is sometimes not money, sometimes, right? And then finally, you can actually do a temp check in a client questionnaire, where you just say literally, hey, if we did this in this price, would you move forward today? Then they'll tell you. So I hope that answers your question, Syed.